Welcome to the lesson on the Customer Center. I'm currently in the JobMaster Pro main menu, and I'm going to click the Customers button to get into the Customer Center screen. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up an existing customer in here by typing in part of their S name and selecting them from the search list. And I'm going to use this customer to show you a little bit about the Customer Center screen. Because with all the center screens, what we're trying to do is bring all the information regarding that item, whether it's a customer, as in this case, a job, the price book, purchase orders, AP, all these major center screens, we're trying to give you quick access to the information regarding that item. So, the Customer Center screen, as you can see here, is divided into the main customer information at the top of the screen, and then tabs give you access to any other related information for this customer. Now the AR tab is always open for you so that as you bring up a customer, you can get a quick look at their outstanding AR balance, so you can decide right away if you want to do another job for them or not. So that's why we have that open right up front. Now I'm going to go through some of these tabs so that you can see how quickly you can get at information for this customer. The General tab is always set up when you set up a new customer. So as you're entering through these fields here in the General comments, when you press enter here, the General tab opens up, allowing you to finish up more information with this customer. So later on, if you want to enter directions or anything like that, or change any of the information, you can do so, but just remember to save your customer if you do change any of the information on the main center screen or the General tab. The Notes tab allows you to click into it and enter and add notes about the customer. So if you need to continually keep adding information or notes that you want to keep on file, you can do that in the Notes screen. And again, just click the Save button after you're done entering your notes. But now we really start getting into the nitty-gritty of things, because the Jobs tab and Invoices tabs work very well together to get you the current information about this customer. Now when we come into the Jobs tab, you can see all of the jobs that are on file for this customer, including closed ones. Now how I know that is that the status dot, we call it, the green status means that these are open jobs, and you can also tell by the status screen, the O for open, C for closed jobs, which are all also denoted in by a red dot, you see. So if you wanted to resort this list, open jobs versus closed jobs, you can click on the status column header and resort it Z to A or A to Z, either way. Just by continuing to click this, it kind of toggles it to sort it one way versus the other. But you can resort this list, all of these lists actually, by clicking on these column headers to resort the list and find information however you want to. Now this is kind of nice because it does give you a quick look at the particular job. Is it a bid job? What was the job description? What was the location of the work? That kind of information. And if I double click on one of these job records, I'll automatically be taken to the Job Center, which is its own center screen that carries everything related to the job that we just brought up on the screen. So, but let's go back to the Customer Center. I'm going to use my Go-To feature to get back here, and I'll pick up where I left off here. Invoices, same kind of thing. You have a lot of ability and control here of your invoices for this customer. So what we've done is we've separated out the paid invoices from the open invoices that are still on the accounts receivable. You can see we have two separate displays for that purpose. So in either of these displays, though, you can click on an invoice, and if you wanted to preview it, you can click the preview button to show that invoice on screen. You can take a look at it. So if the customer has called you and has a question about an invoice, you can quickly access it, get it onto the screen, and preview it. Same thing with open invoices. But not only can you preview them, you can reprint them by clicking the printer button, or you can go directly to the Job Center screen if you wanted to research this invoice a little bit more. So that's why we've added these buttons here, and you can notice that as I rest my cursor on each button, it tells me what it does. But these previews are really huge, and you'll see these all over the system. Now if we go into the Payments tab, here you get an idea of payments and adjustments that were made on this customer's outstanding invoices. It also shows you how long it took for the customer to pay those invoices, because you might want to take advantage of some tools like price codes to price this customer's jobs at a higher or lower level than regular or normal, based on how long it takes them to normally pay. So, price codes, if you're interested in that, review the price book video on price codes. History. Wherever you hear the word or see the word history, you know that we're talking about history notes. Here's the history tab, here's the history button, and throughout the entire program, whether it's accounts payable or even in the job posting screens where you see the history button, you know that we can store and retrieve any information about this customer on the fly. We don't have to do it right in Customer Center. It's available throughout the entire program. But history and history notes. History notes allows you to store all sorts of different information about a customer. And this history information can be retrieved on work orders. It can be used in conjunction with your collections efforts, all of that kind of thing. So I'm going to talk briefly about history notes, generally what they do. But if you're interested in more about history notes, you can build history notes directly from here. By clicking on the history button on the toolbar. You can access the help system on history notes, learn more about it. But whenever you find that you're storing and trying to retrieve information about installed equipment or problems that you've had in the past or special items that you've installed that you don't normally stock, that kind of thing can also be stored, always be stored in history notes and retrieved in here. So as I come in here, you can see what are called the key words for this customer's history notes. Now, key words are nothing more than that. They're key words that define different types of notes. Think of them as, again, file folders, like you see here. So for example, if you do a lot of furnace installation and you want to see what this customer has on file for furnace, when you installed it, when the expiration date is on it, what model number, what serial number, all of this information can be automated and put into history notes automatically through the serial number tracking program. You can review that under the price book videos. But it can also be manually entered. And later on then, when you need to get a list of customers that have this certain model number because there's a recall or something like that, you can totally automate the process of selecting all the customers that have a particular history note, even just on the model number, for example, and then use that returned list of all customers with that model number to go into Cobra's letter writer and spit out a letter for all customers that have that kind of model number. So again, the history notes have a multitude of purposes, and if you're interested in the history notes report writer, do review the help topic on history notes report writer as well, because they all use the history notes. The letter writer, the report writer, they all use history notes. So, very important part of your business. So once you have your customers set up and you're wanting to build kind of past history in there, you're going to want to do that in the customer history notes builder, basically, by accessing it through the history button on the toolbar. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go in, open up some of these, and so you can see more information about each of these notes. And again, you're not limited to the keywords that you can use. You're not limited in any way to how many notes you can use. You can even have notes stored for each customer location. So if this customer, for example, has 3 or 4 stores, what you can actually do is go into the Locations tab here at the right, and you can enter many different customer locations for this existing customer. So that allows you to store history notes by each location. Even if you wanted to know the installed equipment for each location, that ABC Builders has, then you can use locations to do that. So I encourage you, if you're interested in multiple locations for a customer, to review the help topic on customer locations, on how to build them, how to use them, and where you can access them when you're setting up jobs. Very powerful stuff. So we're back at our history tab. Let's keep going. Proposals. Proposals can be built or written for a customer. They can be created from an estimate or from an existing job. So there's all sorts of ways you can create proposals for a customer in the system. But in this screen, this shows you all the proposals that are on file. And if I double click on one, just like I did for the job, it will take me right into the proposal writer for this particular proposal. Same with estimates. If I'm using the estimator, the quick estimator, this will list all of the estimates that are on file for this customer, and I can double click to get right over to the estimating part of the program, and it will carry the estimate number right along with it. Codes. And codes is something that is totally customizable to you. Now, codes first have to be set up, and they can be set up under options, customer codes. So for your own particular business, if you're trying to track customers on different lists, this is not a really tremendous example, but you could have all sorts of different codes in here to denote different types of lists you want to put this customer on, totally of your choosing, which is really cool. So you can build your list right down in here and double click on an item to edit it. You know, very simple to do. You create this codes list very quickly, add to it at any time you want. But the idea is, instead of us having to add fields to the program to be very specific, have specific uses for different types of searches and lists and labels and letter writing capabilities, we allow you to do that with the codes. So then when you have a customer, you can attach as many codes from the left by selecting them and then clicking the right arrow to get them to the right list, and you can click them back off of the right list. So again, use customer codes. Really, it's totally your thing. Now the schedule tab. This shows you, once you begin using the Cobra scheduler, this can show you the schedule of jobs that you have with this customer. Now when I look at this one, I can see a lot of jobs that are on file. I just need a lot of cleanup on mine, but normally in your situation you won't see a ton of them in here. You'll just see maybe a few of them, jobs that you've done in the past and the schedule when you did them, that kind of thing. But as I click open the plus sign next to a job, I know that there's a schedule under it. So then I get the day that it was scheduled, and as I open up that one by clicking on the plus sign, I get right down to the schedule record itself, as you would see it on the scheduling board. Now, the colored dots, as you may remember on your scheduler, denotes visually to you that this job, in this case, was just scheduled, but it was never completed. So, because we use colored dots with the scheduler to denote that the job is scheduled, and that is with a red dot. The green dot signifies that the job is in progress, or somebody out there doing it. The blue dot means the job was completed. And there's also a black dot that can be used to indicate that the job is still pending. More work had to be done on the job. You had to purchase more information. So my point here is that this is a very visual indicator as to what is going on with this customer's jobs. Now, if you double click on the record, you can actually get at the schedule information for that particular job. So this is how we bring all the information together in one view here. So I'm going to exit this schedule. Change orders. In the change orders tab, you can see just the change orders for a particular customer, and then you can always see the job number that they're related to as well, because that's also very important. And if you double click on the line, you'll be brought to the job center, and it will also open up the change order screen with this selected change order on the screen for you. The discount tab allows you to set up a discount percentage and a description of your discount that is used by the invoicing part of the system. So if you want to automate a discount for any particular customer, you can set it up in here with a description and what your discount is, and remember to save your customer if you do this after the fact. Phones, we can go on forever and ever with phones because we can have multiple phone numbers for a particular customer, and you can even assign a type to them, all this. As you can see, you can go on forever with phone numbers. And then whether you want this particular phone number to print on this customer's work orders or not. So you enter the information at the right, you save it, or you can double click on a line and edit it and resave it. Very simple to use. And locations, as I mentioned before, a single customer can have multiple locations, and information throughout the system can be tracked by location, especially the history information of installed equipment and all that stuff. So do, again, look into the help topic on customer locations if you're interested in that. Now, the last tab, archived invoices. Kind of a cool tab. You're not going to use it right away, obviously, because you don't have any data in here yet. But as time goes by, on a year-to-year basis, you may want to start archiving your data, because the more data that flows through COBRA, the slower it starts getting. And that's true with any program, not just COBRA. So I want to point that out. It's not just COBRA. But once you get to the point where you feel you need to start archiving data, and if you get into a regular practice of it as part of your end-of-year procedures, that would be a really good thing. Then you will start seeing the archived invoices available in this tab, see? So if you needed to look at an archived invoice, you can click on it and then click the preview button here at the lower right, or you can reprint it using the print button too. But let's preview this one. I have no idea what's on it. Oh, this is more of a residential one. Excellent, kind of a flat rate unit price type deal. So again, you can look at any invoice on the screen like that. So if you're an existing user and you're interested in archiving, then do go into the help system and type the word archive, so you can find out about Archive Center and when you might want to start archiving your information. You'll also get topics on archiving payroll, archiving your general ledger years, so you can always have access to your archived information, but what archiving does is removes it out of your active everyday working files and speeds them up, and still allows you access to archived information. So that is primarily about the tabs that go across the screen, and in some of the earlier videos on customer setup and customer type setup, you learned a lot about how the different searches work and the many different ways you can search for customers in here, so you may want to review some of those as well. This ends the lesson on Customer Center.